This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You know you get free shipping, but you get a whole lot more as well. Free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, which is awesome, and a free subscription on Twitch to financially support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming. And of course, there are a whole lot more features than just that. To find out about some of our favorites, to get quick links to those features, as well as a 30-day free trial if you're not a member, you can go to f5live.tv/prime. All right, so the streaming wars seem to be expanding outside of just streaming services, Avram. We've been talking about this seemingly forever. Everybody wants to have a streaming service, and it seems like more and more people don't want linear television. The current target of this is the CW. The network, as it exists today, has been around for about 16 years. In 2006, UPN and the WB merged into a single network, C for CBS and W for Warner Brothers. But in that time, things have changed. CBS merged with Viacom to create a whole big company with a pretty strong focus on secondary content on Paramount Plus. Time Warner Brothers has, it seems like every week the structure of that is getting mixed up. It's currently the media arm of AT&T, but is likely to be part of Discovery in the near future. So what does that mean? Who knows? So these companies that currently own this network together are kind of looking to get out of it. They've got a couple of interested parties, but the one that for me is the most interesting is a company that you've almost certainly interacted with and had no idea, and have maybe not heard the name. It's a company called Nexstar, Nexstar. They own 199 local affiliates around the country. Here in the Tampa area, they own our NBC affiliate, but in a number of major markets, such as New York, where Avram is, LA, Dallas, Washington, D.C., they actually own the CW affiliates. But they also own two big brands. They own News Nation, which is not Newsmax. News Nation is the former WGN, which became a news network after they bought the station. And they also own The Hill, which is another news-focused online publication. And they're currently interested in the CW. But, I don't know. The big stuff on the CW is mostly DC-owned properties, right, Avram? So if Warner, that owns DC, sells its stake...
Yeah, this could be a real problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really sad about this because my wife and I watch a lot of those shows. So we love Batwoman. You know, we're a little bit behind on the other show on Flash. We are DVR, like we're about a little bit behind on Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. But you know, we watch all those shows, and then of course there is a brand for, like, there are shows that people say, hey, this is like a CW show. So like, yes, there's all these DC shows, of which there's 5 or 6 currently running, but then
with at least one more in development right now.
Right. But then besides that, there's just, you know, there are certain types of shows that are like, hey, this is a CW type of show. So like, actually Riverdale would also, I guess, count as a DC show because Archie Comics is made by DC. So
true.
So even more. But like, you know, you see certain shows, you're like, oh yeah, this feels like a CW show. And I mean, I admit I like the CW. I like I like their show, most of their shows. Uh, Most of the traditional television I still watch is CW. So I'm very concerned about what's going to happen to these shows. It's like I can foresee a situation where if the WB no longer, if Warner Brothers no longer has ownership, I should say the WB, if Warner Brothers no longer has ownership in the CW, then I can see them pulling their content, sort of like Marvel wasn't very happy with Netflix making Marvel shows. I mean, at first they were like, great, we can make some money licensing this to Netflix.
Yeah.
And then, hey, wait a second, now we want to do our own thing. Well, we know WB is already doing its own thing. It's called HBO Max. But my guess is that they probably wouldn't bring. I mean, by the way, you can watch all the CW shows on HBO Max. So and on Netflix. Like Netflix gets them and HBO Max gets them. I think they both
certain ones, new properties, will not be going to Netflix.
Right. So anyway, I don't know. Like, would these shows continue? Now, I mean, ideally,
I think so. I think they'd go into HBO Max personally.
I mean, because a lot of people are saying, well, some of these shows have been around. Maybe they'll just cancel them all. I don't know. I mean, I'd like them not to. I think it would be kind of cool if they took advantage of the fact that it was HBO Max and, made it a little bit more adult and interesting. But I really enjoy those shows. So I hope they find a way to keep it going. Obviously, if they pull all those shows, the CW network doesn't have a lot of value.
Right.
I mean, I guess if you want to own affiliate stuff, it has value. But I mean, what programming are they going to show? Is Nexstar going to show if they can't show any of that stuff?
Exactly, and that's the question, right? What is the future for what is currently known as the CW? When they bought WGN, nobody expected News Nation. I certainly didn't, and I watched that whole transition. I was not prepared for that odd transition of WGN, that kind of grew its name on Bozo the Clown becoming a 24-hour news station.
Right.
Not
right.
Not expected. So they might have a plan, but the broadcast television is different than cable television, right? Because you've got FCC licenses, you've got all this stuff. Unless you have news, but they do have news because they have News Nation, right? I don't. They might have a plan, but it might come down to negotiations. When Disney bought, I think what is now called Fox Studios, they didn't get the Fox network, but the Fox network still runs all of the old Fox Studios stuff, right? News Corp still owns the network, and ABC now owns the content, and things have continued 100% business as usual there. So it might be the same case here, just reversed, where the network is up for sale, but the content continues business as usual. We have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I were on the other hand, one might argue that as much as I enjoy the content, the ratings on these shows have never been very good.
The CW has not been profitable in over a decade.
So perhaps Nexstar will say, "Hey, this wasn't profitable anyway. We can just, we can just start over again." Although it begs the question, why even buy it? I mean, they already have all these networks. Couldn't they just pull out of being an affiliate and start their own content that way?
I don't know. I don't know what they're up to. This is a company that has been
the CW.
Almost certainly not.
Right.
I mean, unless they're keeping the CW content, maybe they get the ability to keep the license for the name, but almost certainly that name would change seemingly immediately, because I think everybody knows that the C is for CBS and the W is for Warner. So
Right.
I don't know. It's definitely an interesting situation. We're also early days here. They haven't been talking terribly publicly about what's going on. But my guess is if it's to the point where there's information out in the wild about who the bidders are, they're far enough into, because apparently they've been considering this for 2 years. And they've been in negotiations they've been in talks, not necessarily negotiations, but talks for months. So that does mean they're further along than just, the original, Sprint wants to buy T-Mobile conversations that we had, where it was like somebody in a pink shirt showed up at Sprint's headquarters and everybody's like, oh my God, this is far enough along that they're saying we've been thinking about it for 2 years and we've been having conversations for months. So something might happen faster than I'm expecting. Who knows? But right now, it is definitely a big black box. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.